right, so we're here today with Aaron Mencia. He's another fabulous volunteer and another superstar grad student from Florida Atlantic University. So Aaron, tell us a little bit about who you are and background on your research.
Yeah, so like you said, I'm a graduate student at Florida Atlantic University. I'm in the Biological Sciences Thesis program, working with a colony of captive owl monkeys at the Dumont Conservancy. So these guys are kind of retired monkeys from the CDC, which still uses them for medical research. And we use that colony for kind of teaching students how to take care of animals, teaching students how to do like basic research. So that's partially what I'm doing as well. So for my research, I'm kind of focusing on cognition. So the only kind of like anything close to like cognition I've seen with the owl monkeys is being able to recognize patterns and foraging. So they've noticed like I think they got like 3 different types of patterns, and then like one pattern they got like a really high value treat reward, and then another type of pattern they didn't get anything. So they were able to recognize like a high value treat reward like pattern. That was like the closest thing as far as cognition goes. So a lot of cognition research is done with group living monkeys. So I think like chimpanzees, capuchins, macaques, even vervet monkeys. There's a lot of papers on those guys, but really not on like on owl monkeys. And I think the reasons for that is one, there aren't really a lot of captive facilities that hold them. They're nocturnal and they're monogamous. So they kind of have a lot of things going for them where I think people don't want to do research with them. And also people wouldn't think that they would really excel at some things. For my project, I'm adding another layer to cognition where I'm looking at cooperation. So owl monkeys have shown a lot of indication of cooperation in their just like regular behavior. So they're a really unique monkey species in that both the male and the female will help raise offspring. So the male does a lot of like the infant carrying and stuff like that. They already provide indication of cooperation. So I think by kind of testing that cognition and cooperation together, I think they would do really well. So that was the base of my project was if I were to give these guys cognitive task assessment where they have to work together, how would they do? So that project is split up into 3 phases. The first phase is habituation. I did not initially know how long habituation was going to take with these guys. One, because normally like when you habituate like say wild monkeys to people, it could take like 10 years. But these guys, they live in captivity, they're used to people, they're used to getting like artificial enrichments. So I didn't think it would take too long. So I think the longest pair for like habituation took like 2 months. And the shortest one took like a day.
And so for habituation, do you mean by recognizing you in general, or you're like tolerating your presence essentially?
So for habituation, it was kind of focused more like on the apparatus. So the owl monkeys themselves are used to people already because people go in and out of their cages to give them food, give them treats. The way I counted them as being habituated is if both the male and the female grab the food reward from the apparatus. So can you see the photo or do I need to drag it to my other screen?
Oh yeah, so this is great to see a photo of what owl monkeys look like. Because I don't think a lot of people know what owl monkeys are.
They're not actually a really well-known species. Like I said, not a lot of captive facilities have them. I think because they're nocturnal, but these guys are strictly nocturnal. They're monogamous. They live in South America. There's about 12 subspecies of owl monkeys that range throughout South America. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but these guys are also arboreal. So unlike the vervet monkeys where they can come down to the floor to forage and stuff like that, these guys typically in the wild will only come down to the floor really if they're like really sick. So my apparatus here in the photo is trying to accommodate that basically. So for habituation, I kind of had the wooden plank pushed all the way forward. And then this apparatus as well is typically pushed all the way up against the mesh as well. So they had to figure out how to pull it closer. So phase 2 is known as the individual task assessment. So this is kind of like either side of the rope can get pulled and get pulled closer to the cage. For phase 3, both monkeys need to pull it at the same time. So,
and they would, the idea is they pull the rope in to get a food reward, or how do you set this up for them when you start doing your trials?
Yeah, so I can actually show a video of that. This video, you have Lana here. She's pulling on the or pulling on the rope, and she's grabbing that tree here. And then Sinatra is like jealously like looking on. So then for the habituation, the monkey just has to run up to the apparatus and like grab the food reward. They don't really have to like do any kind of critical thinking to like figure out how to grab it. For phase 2 and phase 3, that board was pushed back and a rope was kind of like tethered through the mesh to where they had to figure out how to pull it closer. So for phase 3, both monkeys need to pull it at the same time. So yeah, so phase 2 was 10 sessions per cage minimum, and each session is 10 minutes. And I was doing 2 sessions per night per cage. So each cage has a pair of monkeys in them, or like 2 individuals. Phase 2 took me about like 2.5 weeks. Phase 3, as long as we don't have any catastrophes, will be 2 weeks as well. That because the other goal, right, is cognition. So can they actually figure out that they need both individuals to move that board closer? So there's a couple cages I really think that would be successful at this. And that's what I'm hoping to see at the end. It's just I at least had the very minimum 1 cage that like successfully cooperated in moving that board closer. So I'm hoping that like this project will at least, even if, you know, for whatever reason I'm not successful and I can't find them cooperate, that this will at least form like a base up for anybody who wants to study owl monkeys in the future.
Of course. All right, well, Aaron, thanks for sharing your research today. And I know that our followers will find it very interesting as well. So introducing them to a different type of monkeys instead of our vervet crew we have down there. So we have owl monkeys, which is very cool.